This is the IELTS listening test. You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. Section 1. You will hear a telephone conversation between a letting agent and a man inquiring about a flat to rent. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning, Keystone's Lettings, Carla speaking.
Oh hi, I'm calling about the 2-bedroom flat on Dunmore Street. Is it still available?
Yes. It is. It came back on the market just last Tuesday. Are you looking to move in soon?
Ideally within the next 3 weeks, yeah. What's the monthly rent?
It's £950 a month, bills not included. The council tax band is B, so that's roughly £140 extra per month on top.
Right. And what's the deposit?
5 weeks rent, so that works out to £1,097. Held in the deposit protection scheme.
Is the flat furnished?
It's part furnished, so there's a fridge freezer, washing machine, and a sofa. No bed frame though, so you'd need to bring your own.
That's fine. What floor is it on?
3rd floor, and there is a lift, don't worry. The building also has a communal roof terrace for residents.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Lovely. How long is the tenancy?
The minimum tenancy is 12 months. After that it rolls on monthly.
And is there parking?
There's one allocated space in the rear courtyard, included in the rent. Street parking is also available on a permit basis.
Great. Can I arrange a viewing?
Of course. We have slots this Thursday at 2 p.m. or Saturday at 11. Which works better?
Saturday at 11, please.
Perfect. Can I take your full name?
Tom Hargreaves, Hargreaves.
Got it. And a contact number?
0771-442-8803.
Perfect. We'll send a confirmation to your phone. See you on Saturday.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2. You will hear a guide giving an orientation talk to a group of visitors at the Adventura theme park. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Welcome everyone to Adventura. I'm Maya, your orientation guide today. Before you head off and enjoy everything the park has to offer, let me walk you through the site and give you some essential information. So if you look at the map you were given at the entrance, you're standing at the main entrance right now, at the bottom of the map. The large path heading north from here is the Central Parade. If you head north along the Central Parade and turn left, so west, you'll reach a building in the northwest corner. That's our gift shop, where you can pick up souvenirs before or after your visit. In the northeast corner, The tallest structure you can see from here, that's the roller coaster. It's our flagship ride, 120 meters at its peak. Coming back toward the center, on the west side of the park between the two horizontal paths, you'll find the first aid station. Please note its location in case of emergencies. It's marked with a green cross on your map. On the east side, upper section, you'll see a large building, that's our food court. It seats 400 people and has 12 different outlets. And right in the center of the park, between those two horizontal paths, is the lake. You can take paddle boats out on it between 11 am and 4 p.m.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
Now, some key information about the park's offerings and policies. All rides require a separate ride token, which you can purchase at any of the token kiosks throughout the park. Tokens are priced at £2 each, or you can buy a wristband for unlimited rides. The wristband costs £28. Children under the age of 4 enter the park completely free of charge. Children aged 4 to 15 pay a reduced rate, that's £14. Adults are £22. The park's headline show, the Adventura Spectacular, runs twice daily at 1 p.m. and at 6 p.m. in the outdoor amphitheater. Seating is on a first-come basis, so we recommend arriving at least 30 minutes early. Please note, outside food and drink may not be brought into the park. There are water refill stations throughout, which are free to use. Alcohol is available at licensed outlets only. You will need to show ID if you appear to be under 25. Finally, the park closes at 8 p.m. The last ride entry is at 7:15, and the car park closes at 8:30. All guests must exit by 8 o'clock.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Section 3. You will hear two postgraduate students, Fatima and Raj, discussing their research on urban food deserts with their tutor, Dr. Osei. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Right. Let's move on. Fatima, you're leading on food desert research. Where are you with the theoretical framework?
So, the term food desert was first coined in the early 1990s in the UK, but the dominant academic definition, the one we're working with, comes from the USDA. It's a low-income census tract, where a substantial number of residents are more than 1 mile from a supermarket in urban areas, or 10 miles in rural areas.
And what's the core critique of that definition?
The main critique is that it's purely spatial. It measures physical distance, but not purchasing power, transportation access, or cultural food preferences. A supermarket 1 mile away is still effectively inaccessible if you don't own a car, and there's no public transport nearby.
That's exactly what our preliminary data shows. In the 3 neighborhoods we surveyed, Thornfields, Castlemere, and West Dune, the average travel time to the nearest large supermarket, by public transport, is 47 minutes. By car, 9 minutes. That gap is the real deprivation indicator.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Strong framing. Have you controlled for income?
We have. Median household income across those three areas is £22,400 annually, about 63% of the city median. So the spatial barrier is compounded by economic constraint. They reinforce each other.
And there's a health outcome dimension we're documenting as well. Residents in these areas report significantly higher rates of type 2 diabetes. The prevalence rate in our sample is 31%, compared to 11% in the wider city.
That 11% figure, is that age-adjusted?
Yes, standardized to the national age distribution. So the differential is real. It's not a demographic artifact.
We're also looking at intervention models. The most evidence-based approach in the literature is the mobile food market, essentially a refrigerated van running a fixed weekly route. The Bristol pilot reduced fast food consumption in target areas by 18% over 6 months.
Good. Make sure you engage with the counter-argument that food deserts are a symptom of poverty, not a cause of poor diet. The policy implications are very different, depending on which causal model you adopt. That's going to be the central tension in your conclusion.
Yeah, we've been going back and forth on that actually. We're planning to present both models and let the data speak.
Good approach. Don't overcommit
That
to
is the
one
end
causal
of section
direction
3. You
if
now
the
have
evidence
half a minute to
doesn't
check
fully
your
support
answers.
it.
Now turn to section 4. You will hear a cognitive neuroscience lecture on neuroplasticity and language acquisition. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Today we are focusing on neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life, and specifically, its relationship to second language acquisition. The foundational concept is Hebb's rule, summarized as neurons that fire together, wire together. Repeated co-activation of synaptic connections strengthens them. This process is called long-term potentiation, or LTP, and it is the cellular mechanism underlying all learning, including language. The critical period hypothesis, originally proposed by Lenneberg in 1967, suggests there's a biologically determined window, broadly birth to puberty, during which language acquisition occurs with maximal efficiency. After this period, the brain's plasticity diminishes, and native-like proficiency becomes significantly harder to achieve. However, more recent neuroimaging work complicates this picture. Studies using fMRI have shown that adult language learners activate Broca's area, the region associated with speech production and grammatical processing, in a spatially distinct pattern from child learners. Children show more diffuse bilateral activation. Adults show more lateralized, left hemisphere dominant activation. A key variable, and this is worth noting, is the age of acquisition. Learners who begin a second language before age 7 typically show native-like neural representation, with both languages processed in overlapping cortical regions. Those who begin after puberty show greater cortical separation, what researchers term the late learner neurosignature. Importantly, intensity of input matters as much as age. A 2019 study by Kroll and Dusis, Colel and Duasis, found that adult learners immersed in a second language for as little as 3 months showed measurable increases in gray matter density in the left inferior frontal gyrus, a region closely associated with syntactic processing. In terms of practical implications, spaced repetition, sleep consolidation, and emotional salience are the 3 evidence-based mechanisms shown to accelerate second language acquisition at any age. Emotional salience in particular activates the amygdala, which modulates hippocampal memory consolidation. Finally, the concept of language attrition. If a language is not actively used, the neural pathways supporting it undergo synaptic pruning. The brain eliminates underused connections. Research suggests meaningful attrition can begin in as little as 3 months without regular exposure. Use it or lose it, quite literally.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
That is the end of the listening test. Check your answers. Comment your score. All the best, my dear fellow student. Your hard work will pay off one day.